Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding, the rain is pouring, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 game fresh from the ladder featuring spawning in the south. It is going to be the Wehrmacht pieces of Jove. And spawning in the north, it is going to be the Soviet pieces of Brosras. So yeah, just hopped onto the live game ladder today and happened to catch these two fantastic players at it again. I don't know if this is some kind of organised practice they're doing ahead of the sort of World Championship tournament that's coming up, or if they just are so high, if their ELO on the ladder is so high that they're just getting repeatedly match made against each other as they attempt to get in shape for that tournament that's coming up. But here they are again. So as soon as I saw them playing, I knew I had to cast this game. It doesn't get much higher level than Jove versus Brosras, and I'm really looking forward to seeing another Titanic clash / one-sided curb stomp, whatever it is that these two guys are going to deliver for us here this morning. So yeah, let's take a looky here. It doesn't look like anything particularly special happening. We've got MG42 into Grenadiers. Actually, we do have an infantry company opening here, so that already tells us something about Jove's intentions in this game. He looks like he's still running with Spearhead Doctrine, Mechanized Assault Doctrine, and Bloke with Pipe, who is Assault Support Doctrine. Okay, don't know this one very well. Artillery Field Officer, mate. I haven't seen him since like the first 6 months of the game's release. The Cargo Truck, the Strafing Run, the Tiger Tank, and the Fragmentation Bomb. So those actually all look great. No wonder he's got that equipped. Brosras here, wasting no time selecting his commander. Going to go straight ahead and pick the NKVD Rifle Disruption Tactics. So this is the Commissar guy with the Scorched Earth policy. A really spicy commander. I think right from the game's release, everyone was very excited for Soviets to get the Commissar in multiplayer. And it didn't happen for a long time, but it did finally arrive, and now we do have this NKVD Rifle Disruption Tactics commander, which does allow access to the Commissar and the Scorched Earth, two of the most iconic Soviet features of their military during the actual, World War II, I suppose. Yeah, let's see how Brosras chooses to navigate this game. Excuse me, sorry. I'm as you can tell, I'm still like slightly under the weather. Like, I'm sure one of these days I'm just going to wake up and be just fine. But for now, this virus just persisting at a really low and irritating level, or at least the symptoms thereof. But yeah, we've got triple Grenadier MG42 now going up against triple conscripts. We do have a tech building, and it is going to be the support weapon Campanile, that one just now finishing up. So relatively straightforward openers from these two players, kind of reminiscent of the earliest days of the game, to be honest. We've got infantry company versus support weapon Campanile. And yeah, we're gonna get ourselves into a good old-fashioned Queensberry rules game of Company of Heroes 2 here, as we've got the initial scuffles starting to be taken. You can see on the mini-map combat also occurring towards the south of the map as well. And Jove here, his Grenadiers in good positions, taking a nice fight against these conscripts. Let's check out the action in south. Looks like we've got conscripts, pioneers. That was the sound of an MG42 just beginning to open up. Here it is deployed, catching both squads of Soviet units here in its arc. So nice positioning here by Jove. And I suppose as these two players get to it, the thing about Company of Heroes 2 is, and it is a nice thing, pretty much there is constant combat happening the entire time. It's not like StarCraft, where sometimes the players just kind of sit back and do macro stuff for a minute or two, you know? In Company of Heroes 2, it is constant combat, more or less, usually. Which actually doesn't really give me, as a caster, much opportunity to talk about anything except for the actual game in front of us, which is usually fine. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? That's what I signed up for. But it is sometimes nice to find a window of time just to talk about other stuff that's going on in regards to, like, the channel and things like that. Suffice to say, whoa, come on. Suffice to say, yeah, I have been thinking about like putting some MTG-related content on the channel, doing some streaming, and these kinds of things. As and when I'm ready to make an announcement about that, that will be coming down the line. You can get this kind of news at Twitter, at MagpieCaster, or here on the YouTubes. If you're a subscriber or whatever, you can go across to the community or the like forum part of the channel and just see like little posts or like news updates that I put there. So if you are interested in anything beyond just the immediate video content, which of course is super optional, yeah, you can go and have a look at that kind of thing. Yeah, just thought I'd put that out there. This stuff is on the back burner. It is happening. It is not just me casting these videos. So anyway, with that in mind, or without that in mind, whatever your preference. What were these Grenadiers? Okay, so we got the medical bunker coming up right now for Jove. That was a squad wipe. That was an unlucky squad wipe on some mines. That's pretty horrific, actually, for Jove. Falls foul of an early mine placement. Brosras here, ever the cunning. That's some sweet placement, and he is richly rewarded for it. A two-man squad of Grenadiers. Going to fall foul of that. Nicely done. Looks like we've got a Maxim on the field, so that's going to help combat these 4 measly Axis units. Geez, what a time to be Jove on this map. This looks absolutely grim. Imagine trying to fight off these units with just these. This is going to be a very tough time. Anytime you lose a core infantry squad in the first 5 minutes of the game, that's so rough. That always has a massive knock-on effect long into the mid-game. So this is going to be a tough one. It's definitely going to be a tough one. But this is Jove, and this will not be his first time playing from a horrendously poor position in the early game. And if anyone knows what recovering from this position looks like, it's definitely Jove. So he's going to be going for a 2-2-2. We're going to have the scout car on the field here momentarily. Of course, Brosras has gotten a Zis gun, so that 2-2-2 we'll have to be careful. But, you know, the Zis gun, I think the least accurate of the anti-tank weapon crews that you can buy. And the 2-2-2 can withstand a hit as long as it's not very damaged. So this could be fine. And if the 2-2-2 gets a flank, you know, the DPS against a weapon crew is pretty damn high. So, yeah, Jove, I imagine, so he's up to 2 squads of Pioneers. I imagine he will feel compelled to replace that squad of Grenadiers. Playing with just 2 squads of Grenadiers is going to be rough. Or he could go for Panzergrens. Actually, that's not too bad either. There's that pack gun, the Zis gun, sorry, taking a shot, finds the 2-2-2 immediately. The Pioneers are here in the hood. They're going to be able to repair it. So Jove is now aware. That is the best way to reveal that you have a Zis gun, though, just firing immediately and getting a hit. That's always nice, not getting it scouted until that moment there for Brosras. So just a few small things going his way and severely mitigating the effectiveness of Jove's units. A Zis gun barrage going to come down here at close range. That's going to force an MG42 to displace. You can see in the background engineers with a Rox flamethrower going to be also giving Grenadiers over here a really tough time. So actually Brosras just getting the better end of all engagements that are occurring right now. And he's pushing up to claim the midline of the map, the all-important midline of the map. And let's crack the tack here because Jove is basically forced to retreat with everything. Yeah, you can see Jove's position now severely compacted. Now, Langriskaya is a map where the south spawn, I feel, is quite defensible. Pardon me. You have this village hardpoint here, which is like quite difficult for the north spawning player to like push up to this line because you've got a lot of good cover here. You can use these buildings, which right now it's worth noting Brosras has this building, which is key. If he can get his Maxim in here, actually things start looking super grim for Jove. But we'll see. Where is the Maxim right now? Okay, content to garrison this also very important structure as well. So yeah, Jove unlikely to get shoved out of the game right now, but things do look grim. Amazingly enough, he's actually ahead on the scoreline. That won't last long, of course. He's under a triple cap, but he was able to score, what, 74 points off of Brosras in the very early stages of this game, and that is going to give him a moment's grace here. And you know what? This is a recurring theme in Jove games that I see. Anytime he gets bad engagements and has units wiped, he's normally been so efficient with the victory points early on that he's able to sustain, or at least have a window of time where he can catch his breath, recover, build a couple of additional squads and get back on there. Looks like we've got a Commissar Command squad. Interesting stuff. The 2-2-2 going to start laying into those boys. But let's take a look at their abilities, because I have almost never seen this squad. So we've got medical supplies can be distributed. The Zis gun right now hitting that 2-2-2. He's got the frag grenade. He's got hold the line. The Commissar motivates nearby soldiers to hold their ground at any cost. So you click on a friendly squad. It increases their defenses but greatly reduces movement speed. Okay, so it just makes a unit hard as nails. That seems very strong. He also gets the not one step back, which increases the accuracy and rate of fire, but increases the damage on that squad. Also very interesting. Man, if this commander had access to guards or shocks, that would be so good. And it's probably, you know, designed that it is designed with not having those squads in mind, of course. So that's another Zis gun barrage coming down in the far north of the map here. He's going to be firing across this line of sight blocker. Finds the MG42, but the spread on that barrage, not the best, so it doesn't actually get any damage for it. And then the final ability, Fear Propaganda Artillery. Oh god, that's so annoying. I don't know what it does these days, but it used to just auto-fallback squads. Even squads like pack guns who couldn't fall back, it would put them into a retreat mode, the Propaganda Artillery. Used to be one of the most busted and prolific abilities in the game. I'm pretty sure it's been fixed, so it just suppresses and pins units now, but we'll see. Looks like we've got a good old PM41 82mm mortar squad here, and I'm loving these choices by Brosras. He's diversifying his roster nicely as we move into the early stages of the mid-game. Looks like Jove has mixed in a pack gun, so he's got some insurance against the potential of a T-70, and it looks like he's also going to be grabbing a mortar tube. He has Panzer Grenadiers of his own out on the field now, so... Some fine choices here by both players, as you completely would expect. Moment of quiet here, so let's crack the tack. You can see where where Brosras has elected to make his stand. He knows Jove is going to be ready to push out onto the map, and we're going to see a fight taken, I'm sure, in a minute here, with multiple units from both teams committed. The Soviet mortar tube, I really like getting it at this timing. When you have center control on this map, that position where Brosras has it right now is just so good. It's going to be very hard to displace that tube from there, and it's able to rain fire onto, if I crack the tack, it's able to rain fire onto such a relevant section of the map here. This is like exactly where Axis units will be getting ready, setting up prior to assaulting this position that Brosras is holding. So, yeah, the tube is really nice, probably a luxury afforded by Brosras' very healthy opening to this game. That he's been able to just spare that squad. Grenade comes down. Jove not quite paying attention. Masses of damage inflicted onto the Pioneers. They're going to have to fall back through a flamethrower squad. Brosras, cognizant. He is priority targeting those Pioneers, but despite the fire on his back, he's going to get out of there just okay. Maxim thundering out of this building, forcing Grenadiers back in the south, and things not going very well for Jove here as he attempts to get his teeth into the middle of the map, but he's just getting repulsed right now. Unable to get... Well, hang on, having said that, he secures this victory point, which was the easy part. But crucially, these Panzer Grenadiers are pretty much unimpeded onto this point. The mortar tube right now, taking shots at another target. Okay, it repositions, and now it's going to start flumping these Panzer Grenadiers. So let's see how accurate these barrages are. It comes down to these... No, Jove's on it. He starts moving the Zisgun barrage as well, hooning in for damage. So Brosras doing everything. He gets the fallback. That's crucial. Okay, so Jove unable to secure middle VP, which I'm sure he would have loved to have done. The 222 again being found by this Zisgun, which must have, yeah, a star of veterancy on that thing. It's just been so good. How much veterancy has this 222 got? 4 kills and 1 star of veterancy. Man, German is a hell of a language, isn't it? Leichter Spähwagen, Leichter Panzer Spähwagen. It's like so... I always think that the German language is really just about outputting your syllables as quickly and efficiently as possible. Like, the German language is so... fast, like Mordverdacht, Naturwissenschaften, like all these words that just lots of syllables in rapid succession, and lots of complicated German words are just like smaller German words stitched together, which is lovely if you're trying to learn German, because you can actually figure out complicated words if you know some of the constituent words. But it is very fast, and until you get your ear in, it can be quite overwhelming when you hear German spoken at a rapid pace. So anyway, that aside though, looks like Brosras making a shove here, trying to gain a bit more ground. We've got conscripts and engineers pushing in here. And Tank Buster Grenade comes down onto the 222. Going to grab the engine on that one. Of course, it's not dead, and it does have Pioneers in the hood to repair. Looks like we've got MG42 suppressing conscripts in mid who have managed to grab middle VP. That's crucial because it puts Jove under a cap right now. And Brosras' efforts in the west of the map here going to be allowing him to have a brief moment here where Jove is ticking out at 2. He's bleeding out at 2 per tick. Jove now down at 350 essentially under 421. So Brosras leveraging his early start, flexing his muscles, able to push Jove around considerably, but we're kind of in the stage of the game where Jove has recovered from that early squad wipe. If you look at the top left and you look at the top right, these armies now basically a fair match for each other. Of course, Brosras has got the mechanized armor Campanile, and wow, we actually had a Katusha on the queue for some time there. It got about 2/3 constructed. Then Brosras changing his mind, he's going to opt for the KV-8 heavy flamethrower tank. And that is by far the scarier choice. All these units up here in the top left have to respect the KV-8. The Katusha would have been a fine choice, but I think when your opening has been as strong as Brosras's was, going for the KV-8 at this timing is a much more spicy choice. So it seems like it's fairly low risk and potentially very high reward, and that's always pretty smart in my books. So Brosras here, trying to edge forward as well he needs to. Jove right now able to secure a double cap and doing his best to redress the scoreline imbalance here, which he will need to do. Another Zisgun barrage coming down. Notice how Brosras seems to really enjoy using these these Zisgun barrages, getting a plum hit there. Yeah, how many are they? Like 45 munitions? 35. Okay. I've always liked the Zisgun Barrage, and I always thought it should cost very little or just be a much more standard part of Soviet play. In the early days of the game, it was utterly brutal. I'm talking really early, when we had like 3-man MG42 crews. So okay, here comes the KV-8 though, going to interrupt me from making my point about Zisgun Barrages for now, because this is a fairly important moment as the KV-8, the mighty, fearsome, heavy flamethrower tank, going to rumble onto the front line here. There are grenadiers, there is a 222 car, both of these perfectly fine targets for this tank. It can switch to using its fairly pitiful but still like decent against a 222 main gun. Yeah, 2 pack guns on the field now for Jove though. Going to be angling for shots here, looking to try and find a line of sight onto this unit. So yeah, this is fine. Clustering them up like this, slightly risky when you know your opponent has a mortar and a Zis gun, which he seems to be quite trigger happy with the barrages on. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, it's really nice to see Brosras making extensive use of the, oh goodness me, extensive use of the Zis gun barrage. This flaming is not okay. A Faust does connect, the engine is stricken, we've got 2 pack guns with line of sight here, hooning shots into the KV-8, it finds itself at 25% health, a lucky bounce there coming through, so that is a lucky bounce indeed, or else that KV-8 would be seriously damaged right now. Mechanized Assault Doctrine gets chosen by Jove at this timing in order to have access to the Stug aus E. So we've got the E variant of the Stug here on the field. This is the much more indirect fire oriented like shell lobber. It's almost like a Brumbar light. Oh, it's so good I can't believe it's not Brumbar. Yeah, he's going to be using this low-fat Brumbar to clear Soviet forces from the middle of the map, and for all the same reasons that I thought that the Soviet mortar tube was a really nice choice, I have to say I'm loving this Stug E. It's an assault gun, and assault guns are really well suited for pushing, taking ground from infantry targets that are holding an area. It's just a really nice tool for that. You just keep pushing it gradually forwards, flumping the hell out of your opponent's targets, and it's kind of on them to solve the Stug E. It kind of makes the game the Soviet player's problem, and that's a nice reversal in this story, because this game has essentially been Jove's problem up until now. So, what are the choices here for Brosras? Well, he has access to the whole tech tree. Look at this medical kit ability being used by the commander, the, where is he? The Giza Magoo, what's his name? Commissar Command Squad. Yeah, this is just an ability that Soviet forces don't tend to have access to very often. I mean, we're used to seeing UKF and you know, running around using medkits, but to give Soviets this is a very interesting and rare luxury for that faction. Nice to see Brosras leveraging it for good value here, just as he's leveraging this damn flamethrower tank. It's absolutely burninating Jove's forces here. Let's quickly check the tech here for Jove, because I'm not sure what he's been up to. So yeah, okay, Battle Phase 3 has been escalated, and that gives him access to the Tiger tank in the late game. And we've seen that Jove has... actually, have we seen Jove use Tiger tanks recently? I'm going to retract that statement, because I actually don't remember it, so... But I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going to opt to try and save up the 270, I believe it is, for the 230, sorry, 230 for the Tiger 1. It's 270 for the Tiger 2. Wow, so Brosras coming in here, the Commissar leading the charge, inspiring his troops. Epic stuff for a political officer here. He's going to come through with the propaganda barrage. That's what he wanted. It looks like a bit of a miss, to be honest. I can't see this propaganda hitting anything. But he is getting the pack guns out of here, which means that the KV-8 can come through. It's going to overrun onto an MG42 that was exposed, burninating the crew on that one. Commissar going to be able to get out unscathed, even though he's running back through a flaming hellscape. The Stug E finding some shots onto this concentration of Soviet units, even finding some damage onto the KV-8, so that's nice stuff. LMG-42 here, the last bastion of Axis resistance on the doorstep of the Axis base. And that's a Katusha we've got on the queue. Oh my god, if that was finished right now, it would be like so horrible. But Jove gonna have to think about dealing with a Katusha as this game moves on, which is going to be horrendous. And then crucially, Brosras secures the main prize, which was middle VP. Brosras finds himself at 299 actually under 347, so Jove's period of domination over this last phase of play telling in the scoreline. Soviet forces even attempting to grab west. This Stug E, there we go, going to start hooning shots into these poor conscripts. Oh, conscripts are going to try and overrun for a tank buster grenade, but they don't get it. This KV-8, how does it not have a Star of Veterancy? There we go, it's like as close as you could be to having a Star of Veterancy without having a Star of Veterancy. It's been very good. These grenadiers, they're going to take back mid. Wow. How is this happening? They're taking back mid in the face of a KV-8 and a Zis gun. Sorry, and a Maxim. Rough. That's a Katusha barrage. Raining down, finds some plum hits. Ah, that's disgusting. Okay, wow. I feel like Jove even getting a bit lucky there. That could have been a lot more damage than what was inflicted. He loses a pack gun and he loses a number of members of other weapon teams, but actually really only sustaining a loss on the pack gun is very lucky. The pack gun gets taken out by a nice shot from the Zis. That's going to prevent Jove from recrewing that one, and that is material damage being inflicted there by Brosras. That means that this KV-8 will be able to be more efficient, or it forces Jove to replace that unit, both of which represent blows being dealt to Jove. Jove here bobbing, weaving, doing his best, but he is definitely under the gun. He is taking hits. He is in the disadvantaged position, and it's again, this game I feel like is his problem. He's got to solve this one. Grenadiers coming under fire from a Maxim. That will pin them down. Stug E going to attempt to relieve this, and it will. Explosively so. Looks like we've got a GR34 getting mixed in here by Jove. Missed this one. Already nearly 2 stars of veterancy. What the hell have they been hitting? They must have gotten some great shots in. To be fair, when you've got clustered Soviet units stacked up like this, you know, the GR34, one of the faster firing mortars in the game, so has the most potential for explosive veterancy, if that makes sense. As we track these shells coming in. Stug E still policing the west of the map, now being supported by Grenadiers, able to push up and capture some ground. And Brosras, actually, with no units here, is going to be forced to respond, because those Grenadiers ain't going to stop. They're going to keep making progress up that flank. So, actually, at least one thing going Jove's way on the map right now, which is important. The scoreline, 326 for Jove, 290 for Brosras. That, as you heard, is the announcement that there is a Tiger to deploy. Loving this camo for Jove. Not one of the camos you see super often, but one of the camos that was in the game on release, I believe. So, nice to see. Vintage, retro. About as old as Jove's domination in this game. So, Katusha barrage, let's have a check. The Katusha is loaded. And Axis forces, there's a moment of quiet here. There's about to be a big fight. Both armies reloaded, reinforced, ready to rock. Jove wants that middle VP. Let's see if he's going to be able to get it. Okay, so the KV-8 is lured out by these pioneers, enabling the Tiger to come and push that one away. He gets a penetrating hit. He comes forward. He knows there's a Zis gun out here, but he seemingly doesn't seem to mind about it. So he takes a hit from the Zis gun, feeds it a star of veterancy, but that's fine. And then the Tiger just going to calmly back up. I imagine there'll be some pioneers on the way to repair that one momentarily.
The enemy has cut off a sector.
So, okay, Flammenwerfer for pioneers going to be pushing in the east. Soviet units overwatching mid right now, but the Axis forces are still able to capture. That's a Katusha barrage. Finds the mortar squad. Immediately Jove falls back. Is it too late to save the veterancy on this unit? Getting a bit lucky with the spread is Jove, and he will be able to save his mortar squad. So, yeah, nicely done by Jove. These Grenadiers have chewed up the entire western side of the map, though. The entire western lane, if you like, has been overrun. This actually gives Jove the interesting opportunity. He could move these Grenadiers in here to take this Maxim from behind, which, risky, but there's the option now. So if he sees a good opportunity, a nice moment to do so, he may do that. Shrek's now popping up on the Panzer Grenadiers, giving Jove another way to start pushing around the armoured units of Brosras. But speaking of armoured units for Brosras, we have an Su-85 entering the field now. And this is a super nice choice. This is just one of those maps where an Su-85 can absolutely dominate. If you hold position around about here, you basically have line of sight with the Su-85 over this whole area of the map, which is kind of massive. And it's going to be very hard for Jove to put together a kill on this unit, on the Su-85, as long as Brosras treats it very cautiously and uses its long line of sight, rate of fire, and range to just... It's not about putting together a kill on any of these Axis armoured units, though you may well be able to catch out the 222 or the Stuggy. It's more about just vetting up this Su-85 so that in the late game, where every engagement and every shot and every victory point matters, You have the Su-85 that's almost untouchable with 3 stars of veterancy, just eating through the Axis armor and making that armor so inefficient. Stug E and the Grenadiers on the western flank are going to be insufficient in the face of Brosras' response. He does finally get round to this, so it looks like Soviet units now going to be eating their way down the western lane of the map. Brosras finally addressing Jove's position there. Jove manages to grab the middle of the map though, so it's Brosras who's still under the clock. 250 tickets and counting for him. KV-8 comes forward, but there's pack guns. Well, there was a pack gun. Was this a pack gun or was that an MG? Yeah, there was a pack gun. Not anymore though. Artillery barrage coming in. This is the anti-tank overwatch. Oh, cool. Artillery will be called in to destroy hostile tanks within the target zone. The longer a target is visible, the more intense the artillery gets. So this is actually just a really good way of buying a Tiger-free window. But Brosras unable to get any infantry onto the middle point. Okay, there we go. Some conscripts going to find their way on there. But yeah, buying some Tiger-free time here with the anti-tank overwatch is really nice. The 222 forced to be scarce. The Stuggy likewise. Actually, you know what? The Stuggy can still contribute from over here, which is sweet. But you know, another Stuggy would just be hench in this, because it can hide behind the Tiger and just continuously rain fire into these Soviet units. So I think I quite like that. How's the Su-85 been doing? It's found barely any value in this game so far, but that's fine. Its mere presence is enough to warp the tactics which Jove is able to access with his armor. That's another Katyusha barrage. Whoa, it's coming in really long. Okay, he was hoping to find some weak units that were healing or reinforcing in the base or coming out of the base. Doesn't manage to find any. And this Katyusha not going to vet up on this particular barrage. Going to have to wait another 90 odd seconds for another shot at this. Okay, Jove comes forward. He wants mid. But there's just too much Soviet on the dance floor. This is a very tough nut to crack. Panzerschrecks managed to connect on the KV-8, putting it on perilously low health. The Tiger tank just coming in here from the south. Just a little bit too slow to find the kill. The Su-85 has Overwatch here. We'll use that to gain some much needed veterancy. Watch the veterancy here. Just massive chunks of veterancy being gained for every penetrating hit it finds on that Tiger tank. The damage so telling, and it will only get worse and more intense as the Su-85 ranks up. There we go, another hit on the 222. Massive chunk of veterancy. And just in the last 3 shots, we've seen it get like 2/3 of a level of veterancy or so. And this is an Su-85 that, at this rate, will be destined for greatness in the later stages of this game. I mean, we're not there yet. It has work to do. But this has been a good opening few minutes of an Su-85's life. This unit, just the bane of Axis armor. I remember, actually, I'm minded back to some of my very first ladder games in Company of Heroes 2, where I played Axis and I got to a really great start and I was crushing my opponent, and then all of my armor exploded, and this was way back when I was still learning the game, so I was very, very green, and I was just like, whoa, what the hell just happened? This game feels so imber. And I watched the replay and I was like, Su-85, this is a tank destroyer. And I was like, okay, this unit does, as advertised, destroy tanks. That is what it does. And yeah, I learned at a very early stage in Company of Heroes 2 that the Su-85, you must respect it with your Axis armor. It is not optional. You must respect the Su-85. And like, well microed, again, it's just such a hard unit to get to grips with. It has the focus sight mode, so it extends its line of sight for so far. I wonder if we can switch the Fog of War on and get Brosras' perspective on this one. So you can see, look, the Su-85 able to illuminate so far into the Fog of War. It's like a flashlight. You can see this beam of sight that it spits out. And then you can turn the focus sight mode off when you need maneuverability and scurry the Su-85 out of there. This is part of what makes it such a frustrating unit to deal with. For comparison, if you imagine the Jagdpanzer, it does get extended line of sight, but that's a veterancy ability rather than a toggle ability. So you don't get it straight away. I'm not saying that that's weaker or stronger, it's just different. Grenadiers doing heroic work here to try and capture mid, but it won't be enough. Maxim has Overwatch, pushes them back. Katyusha has found its first star of veterancy. I missed the barrage, but I imagine it just saturated this area and caught some unlucky Axis dudes. Ooh! Stug E here taking some shells. Looks like the conscript's going to be flailing in here to try and deal with that one, but They run into the MG42s of a couple of Axis squads here, forced immediately to turn tail. And what a tense late game we've got here now. The two players fairly well balanced in terms of scoreline. Jove still has had the majority of victory point control, and that's reflected by his 60-odd ticket lead. Army composition-wise, I mean, we're looking at two masters of the game ply their trade, and that is reflected in the armies we see here. They both have ample indirect fire options. They both have ample force diversity. They have armor, anti-armor. They have some Overwatch units such as the MGs for covering these victory points. So we are getting to watch two like elite sumo wrestlers circle and engage here, and it's a brutal affair. And it's a battle of increments. I doubt that we're going to see one player break the other. Panzerwerfer, Jove, you genius. Just a lovely choice. I doubt that we're going to see either player break the other. This is not going to be a neck snap moment, you know. It's going to be a battle where there's going to be a lot of fights that look relatively even, but one player is just incrementing a bit more efficiency and a bit more value, and whoever is able over the course of many minutes of constant engagement to whittle his opponent down and just get the better end of more trades to get the higher sort of average efficiency out of his forces, or score the most average damage in terms of victory points and damage against units onto his opponent, is probably going to be the victor here. That's probably what we're going to see. As you wear down your opponent, their ability to contest the victory points gets reduced. The mortar tube gets taken out. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, their ability to contest the victory points gets reduced, and as your opponent gets more and more desperate in terms of the scoreline, they're forced to take worse and worse fights, and there comes a point when you're no longer able to take a fight or contest the victory points, and of course, that's how you lose. KV-8 going to rush forward here, burn some grenadiers. Man, this KV-8 has been such a good unit this game. The Panzerschreck toting Panzer Grenadiers are here, but wow, the armor on the KV-8 just proof against their assault for now. Pack gun going to be chipping in for value, and I imagine we'll see the Tiger, actually sorry, no, the Tiger's spending a moment to repair. And it's just like, look how much the behavior of the, whoa, that's a Panzerwerfer barrage. Damn. That's a good opening barrage. 4 kills, nice amount of veterancy. But yeah, look how much Jove has to alter the behavior of his tanks now that the Su-85 is on the field. It's a completely different pattern of behavior that you're forced to like enforce on your tanks as the German player. When this bastard Su-85 is just out there. Look at this, and again, the Tiger has to limit its windows of exposure. The Tiger has to poke forward, take a couple of shots and get out, rather than just being able to rumble in and take targets of opportunity and just be way more efficient. So anyway, Katusha going to be firing back here, knocks down a pack gun as these two players, siege warfare being displayed here. Jove has Brosras under a double cap, actually, amazingly enough. So actually, Brosras' position becoming a little bit tenuous in this game. He got off to a magnificent start, and I love his composition. I think his tactics have been sound. But crucially, despite taking some pretty heavy hits in this game, Jove actually able to exert the better control over the victory points. And he's actually going to have a triple cap. Jove's going to get a triple cap here. Wow. Ugh. If Brosras... Okay, so, alright, theory. The KV-8 looks great in this game, and it is burninating a lot of infantry, right? But it's not Vet 3 yet, so it can't have been doing insanely good. If he lost the KV-8 and replaced it with an Su-85, is Brosras' position in this game better? Or if he lost the KV-8 and replaced it with a second Katusha? Wow, a T-34? Sorry, I didn't see this come on. Okay, I kind of like this, because now he has the option for a ram to try and put together a kill on a Tiger. But we're at the stage in the game where even killing the Tiger isn't that impactful. Whoa, tank hunter artillery coming down. Jove's not watching. This Tiger's taking crucial hits. He's losing his pioneers. Ah, my God, the Tiger just gets devastated. Oh my goodness, that's epic. What? Not only that, but he kills the pioneers. That's nearly as bad as losing the Tiger here. As I was just saying, losing the Tiger at this stage in the game may not be that impactful because Jove actually just had the money for another Tiger. But if you lose your Tiger and the Pioneers, you do not have the manpower to replace both. In fact, he doesn't have the manpower to replace either. So, okay, Jove's position in this game just took a massive hit. That tank hunting artillery, the anti-tank Overwatch, that is incredibly powerful stuff. Jove, like, not paying attention, didn't move his Tiger for, like, I don't know, what? It didn't feel like very long. Couldn't have been 10 or 15 seconds. Couldn't have been longer than that. And loses his Tiger and its attendant Pioneer squad. Yikes. So, he does still have a squad of Pioneers. Oh no, this T-34 as well, actually, starting to menace the remaining Axis vehicles down. Brosras pushing elsewhere on the map. Zisgun Su-85 advancing. Not a lot of infantry to support them. Tusha coming in for another barrage. Those rockets going to find the Axis weapon squads that they're looking for, so that's nice stuff. Panzerwerfer is also ready for its next shot as well, so Jove could spend that when he sees a target that he wants to fire at. Jove just catching that grenade, nice stuff. Okay, Jove, survival mode initiated. Difficulty set to very hard. Hurt me plenty. That's a Panzerwerfer. Oh my goodness, Jove finds a spectacular barrage. Oh my goodness, that was a disgusting barrage. Did he actually get any squad wipes there? Yeah, he got the Commissar squad. Nice. Okay, wow, that Panzerwerfer barrage masterfully timed and positioned. He knew that there were like 4 or 5, I think 4 Soviet squads retreating to this location. Puts the barrage down right where it's going to catch all those very wounded, low health squads. Lovely stuff. The moves of a master. That's the kind of stuff you need to get back in this game. Another T-34 getting added. And I reckon that this, at the moment, because there's no Tiger tank and there's not really that much to police these T-34s, they are converting into just damage. Like, these T-34s are a bit of a crisis every time they push forwards, and going for another one is just going to add to the efficiency of this Soviet army. So there have been a lot of times in recent videos where I've been critical of Soviet players for overcommitting to T-34s and building them into the face of an Axis army that's so well prepared to deal with them, where they just basically head in and kind of die like, or splat like eggs into a wall or something. But this is very different. Jove right now is heavily on the back foot. He's just reeling from the loss of a Tiger and some other units. And Brosras right now, this is not a game that's at stalemate. Brosras has the upper hand, and that means that these T-34s aren't being committed into a stalemate or a prepared Axis player. They're being committed into an advantage situation, and T-34s are good at that. You know, they're fast, they are good against pretty much all targets. They're I've already said they're fast. They're just very... T-34s represent a very direct and relatively easy way of converting resources into problems for your opponent, let's put it that way. As a unit, that is one of their biggest strengths. Tiger tank, of course, has been replaced though. So perhaps this period, this window of vulnerability has come to an end. We're going to have to see if Jove can stem the bleeding here. It's going to get real bad. As ever for Jove though, when things start turning sour, he has the scoreline advantage. So he has the luxury, and it is a luxury in Company of Heroes 2, he has the luxury of time. Su-85 here coming forward though, 2 stars of veterancy on that thing. The rate of fire is going to be pretty sorry, it's penetration and accuracy. Rate of fire is at Vet 3. But yeah, the Vet 2, it seldom misses, and it will basically always, it feels like it almost always penetrates a Tiger tank at Vet 2, so this is desperate times for Jove. T-34 losing its fight here against a Stug E is pretty rare. Oh, the attack round. It's gonna miss. The Tiger will probably not miss though. Hey buddy, I see you trying to retreat with your tank here. That's nice. Oh, it does miss! Oh my god, I think that T-34 is going to get away. The engine gets broken! Where's the Su-85? It's not in position, neither is it repaired enough to take advantage. There is a Zisgun here, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 3-star Zisgun though. Oh, this Tiger's so low! Ah! I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't like shout, to be honest. It's just so exciting. I know I've got an open mic here. I will get better at controlling these. Like, I just get so excited when I cast good games. I do apologise for blitzing anyone's ears, particularly if you're using headphones. I'll try and be more aware of that moving forwards. Okay, so the KV-8 has just been a menace this whole game. Only 29 kills, actually. There's not as many as I thought it might have. 1 squad of Pioneers only to repair all of these damaged Axis armor. The Soviet repair situation going much better. Oh, Katusha barrage coming in, obliterating this position. The Zisgun also committing to the artillery barrage here. Oh my goodness me. That is a blasted hellscape where some Axis units used to be. Wow, devastation. Panzerwerfer going for a counter barrage. Where's this landing? It was a bit of a guess barrage, wasn't it? There wasn't much line of sight here for Jove, and I think he just thought that perhaps Brosras would be moving through this area. Panzerwerfer doesn't find very much. A sign, perhaps, of Jove's desperation, and as you can hear, the enemy is reduced to 200 points. Oh, that's Stuggy. So good. That thing's on 3 stars, right? Yeah, oh my goodness. The rate of fire is obscene. It's just hurling shells. Oh my god, it nearly got a squad wipe. It's just hurling shells in there. So brutal. Oh yeah, more conscripts, more meat for the table. Su-85 here, caught out in an awkward position. Shreks, is there a pack gun in the hood? I don't know. Ah, the Stuggy gets taken out. I missed that. Okay. And the Su-85 gets out. I think the Stug got... Okay, because the Stug was on a pixel of health. I think these conscripts were just able to run up to it and dink it with an AT grenade there? I think that's what happened. I don't know. Their AT grenade is not on cooldown, though, so maybe I'm wrong. Magpie, forensic casting. Okay, so scoreline, Jove 182, Brosras 160. Brosras has caught up. Let's look at the armies. Top left, top right. Who do you prefer? I think the answer is obvious. Okay, yeah, Brosras, 2 T-34s, an Su-85, a KV-8, a Katusha, 3 squads conscripts, 4 squads of engineers for the mad repairs, making his army so efficient, and a 3-star Zisgun, just the icing on the cake. Yeah, this is pretty nice. And Jove right now, any losses that he sustains are so impactful, so meaningful. He's gasping for manpower, as often Wehrmacht do in the late game, to be honest. Wehrmacht, I find, more so than any other faction that I play, I often just find that I'm so short on manpower, perhaps because their squads are so brittle and easy to lose. Speaking, though, of losing squads, a conscript squad there getting taken out. I apologise for my damn camera glitches, making that a little bit hard to see there for a second. But yeah, conscript squad does get wiped out. Tiger tank on the pursuit there down the west flank. Oh no. No, this is looking ugly. I think Brosras might have realised that he has the advantage here, because he's just getting really pushy. Comes in for just some pure value play here, just senses that there are some Germans he can kill here, and he does. And this again, Jove like flatlining on manpower. He cannot be. He needs to replace squads, let alone reinforcing these ones, and he can't really do either very well. So this is tough. The Tiger tank is alive. But I mean, there's a hyper menacing 3-star Su-85 out here now, and this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier, and which I'm sure any seasoned Company of Heroes 2 player, this is a situation you're familiar with. When your opponent gets a tank destroyer to 3 stars, the game just gets very difficult. And again, Brosras has been looking after this Su-85 very well. It's just been garrisoning essentially like this position on the map, taking shots into exposed Axis armor for massive chunks of damage and veterancy. And now at 3-star vet, the rate of fire gets frankly alarming. Anti-tank overwatch comes down in this area. There are no Axis vehicles in the hood though, so it ought to be fine. Yeah, like I was saying, this Su-85 is now just, if it was oppressive before, it's now just, what's the word I'm looking for? It just persecutes Axis armor. It just, I don't know. I can't find a strong enough word. Anyway, Katusha just going to take a barrage for value here. Brosras sensing that, you know, he can bring the Tusha far enough forwards. Where is it? Just back here and just take a barrage. Looking for just some value into the Axis base. That's fine. Jove has somehow managed to cobble together 2 squads of pioneers, so he can finally start using these vehicles and repairing them in a timely fashion. Donk! Look at the rate of fire on this Su-85. Oh, okay. He's trying to attack ground round now, so it will be a little slower than I thought.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
This is such a hard situation for Jove. I feel like his window to win this game may have closed.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Alright, Tiger Tank finds a good window here. Su-85, look at this rate of fire now. It's just like one shot every 3 or 4 seconds or something. It's like nuts. So yeah, the Tiger forced back, engine broken on that one, some conscripts managing to connect there. Brave Panzer Grenadiers attempting to decap mid, but it's just not going to happen. And the T-34 is pouncing to punish. They want the 3-star squad with the Shreks. That's a valuable unit. Oh, okay, they're going to get out of there. That's lucky. Katusha firing in. Finds the repairing Tiger. but Jove was aware of this, so the Pioneers get out. T-34 comes in, going to pounce on the Tiger. Oh no. Gets round to the side. The Tiger's turret traverse speed, not quite enough. Gets a shot into the rear armor of the big cat, the stricken big cat here. Jove takes an attack ground round, but Brosras coming around for lap 2 of pinging this Tiger down. The Su-85 maneuvering to take some shots here. And that'll be a dead big cat, and you have to feel... I mean, Jove does have some fuel, he does have some manpower, he could replace that, but every time he's having to... Yeah, there we go. Every time he has to replace this Tiger, he's just getting so much further behind in the game. You know, even if he was able to buy another Tiger immediately right now, look at Jove's forces in the top left, look at Brosras' insane USSR roster in the top right. The writing's on the wall and Jove can read it. And that is going to be game here. Brosras putting together an epic Soviet win. Very nicely done against a remarkably skillful and just brilliant opponent here. Jove, at so many points in this game, making just excellent decisions with his composition, with where he routes his units, with responding to Brosras' tactics, but just not enough here. Brosras using the NKVD rifle disruption tactics, I believe it's called. Yeah, Commander... for great value. The KV-8 was prolific in this game. The Commissar, whilst he was alive, very useful and an interesting unit to see on the field. Scorched Earth, I wasn't actually cognizant of seeing that used, to be honest. And oh yeah, anti-tank Overwatch. I mean, we saw it kill a Tiger, and every other time it was used, it forced the Axis armor out of the fight for like a good 20 or 30 seconds. That's value. That is value. And anytime that you can just dump munitions into something that's that strong in the late game, that's always going to be able to dictate the shape and the flow of battle. And those abilities can, you know, games can turn on those abilities. And I think it's fair to say this game did turn on that ability. That first Tiger getting sniped down by the anti-tank Overwatch was massive in this game. Worth paying some attention to the builds of these two players in this game, because if you're playing on a, let's say, normal style map, which I would say most of the release maps are, like Kolodny Farm, this one, oh god, what's the name of the... Yeah, Faymanville Approach, like all of the sort of like normal, like not advanced style maps, as opposed to like Nexus and like the more like modern style maps, which have been made with a much more like better understanding of Company of Heroes 2's meta. If you're playing on a normal style map, these builds are brilliant, and you might not have the skills or the micro or the decision making of these two players, but you can start to get a feel for it by following these builds a little bit. So if you're a developing Company of Heroes 2 player, you could do a lot worse than flipping open your notebook, winding back this replay and just seeing at what squads, at what timing, and in response to what choices. Because it's not just do the same build every time, make these units every time. It's like, look at what points Jove saw what Brosras was doing, and look at and then how he adapts his composition to deal with that. And look at also when they just have a period of advantage where they have a natural accumulation of resources and they're free to take a unit, not in response to something their other opponent is doing. Those are the two kind of key types of choices which you can learn a lot about how to be good at this game by taking advantage of the knowledge that these players who have thousands of hours on this game have. So yeah, you can just directly transpose that knowledge into your head if you pay close attention to the choices that these players make in these games. And I feel like this was a relatively vanilla game on a relatively vanilla map, and therefore provides quite a stark like display of those decisions. So it's quite useful to watch, I think. Yeah, Brosras, just masterful timing. I love that the KV-8 was just great and provided a nice armored bulwark for a lot of his units to hide behind, besides doing damage. But I think that was really secondary to its purpose. Following that up with the was it? I think it was Su-85 into Katusha. I think it was. And yeah, I mean, just masterful decisions, able to end up with this endgame composition that was just beautiful. Remember as well, he did mix in a mortar tube that was lost, and I still think that was a great choice as well. Jove's army, okay, it's harder to analyze it now because it's quite battered and destroyed here at the end of the game, but seeing Jove delay his commander choice and then go for this one when he needed the Stug-E, and then seeing the impact that the Stug-E had on this game, the GR34 that he mixed in, the number of pack guns he had, their positioning and their timing, and the way that they supported the Tiger plan, which was sort of the like type of strategy I would say that he found himself in the late game. All just hyper interesting, really, really interesting stuff. So yeah, a fantastic game to have caught on the ladder there. Really glad to have caught that one. Hyper exciting. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for more content. Thank you very much for watching. And this for now, Magpie842 signing out.